Oh my god, people, Rooster Teeth was not playing around when they posted this on their website. RWBY got dark really quick with this episode. And I know, guys, that episode 6 had a very serious atmosphere and tone. When Pyrrha was talking to Ozpin and the other Brotherhood members about the seasonal maidens, the Assailant, their Grim problem, and Amber. Then towards the end, with Yang, it started to give off a darker tone that RWBY usually does not have. But man, this episode went in a very dark direction compared to what we've seen in RWBY thus far. And to be completely honest with you guys, I'm loving it. This episode was so dark in so many different ways, I felt like I wasn't even watching the same show anymore. And that's crazy, man. But do not get it twisted, man. I'm not saying that I didn't love RWBY before, but this is definitely getting me to think more thoroughly about the massive amounts of new possibilities that will be opened up to the RWBY series from now on, through darker and more complex themes, emotions, and conflicts that will be sure to arise, since they will not be restricted to accommodate for a younger audience to make the show a more family-friendly one. Now, I would like to apologize in advance for any foul, inappropriate language you will hear throughout these reviews. But enough about that now, let's get on to the reviews. Now, at the start of this episode, we find ourselves in a flashback. Whose flashback, you may ask? None other than Cinder Fall, that's who. I would like to guess that this flashback takes place a year or two ago, since Emerald does not appear to be that much younger. Although with the current getup that Emerald has right now, she looks skinnier compared to present time Emerald. Not by much, but still, nevertheless, still worth noting, since this episode pretty blatantly tells us that Emerald's main reason for joining Cinder is because Emerald was just a lonely girl living on the streets that was more than likely orphaned at a young age, so she was forced to play with the hand that life dealt her, and as we can see, this led her into her current life of crime, in which she uses her semblance. That, by the way, this episode pretty much completely confirmed that Emerald was indeed the one behind the illusions, hallucinations, or mirages, whatever you want to call them, that Yang and Qrow had experienced during their matches. So yeah, at this point I believe Emerald's semblance is probably mind manipulation. She creeps her way into your psyche and forces you to see whatever she wants. Oh yeah, back to what I was previously saying. Sorry, I got sidetracked there for a minute. So Emerald, due to her many unfortunate circumstances, was led into a life of crime, in which she would use her semblance to help aid her in successfully stealing valuable goods, like jewelry as it was in this case, to most likely just end up selling it on the black market in order to make some quick cash for herself. And guys, think about it. The whole time that Emerald has had her semblance before meeting Cinder, don't you think that if Emerald was actually as bad as some of us have been led to believe, she would have used her semblance to pull off bigger heists, make it big, forget her life on the streets, and, you know, live the life? But as we already know, Emerald did not do this and remained on the streets, stealing small every now and then. Is this because she was very inexperienced with her semblance back then compared to now? Probably. However, I think there may be more to it than that. I personally believe that Emerald, on her own, willingly made the decision to remain on the streets and to steal as little as possible. She seems to have a weird sense of honor, at least to me. She doesn't seem to care about the luxuries like jewelry, yachts, sports cars, the huge mansion with a nice pool. You guys get the gist. All she had ever really wanted in life was to live a life in which she was guaranteed to never go hungry again. And that is precisely what Cinder provided Emerald with in exchange for her loyalty. And that's pretty deep. Emerald must feel really in debt to Cinder because of this. And it seems that she has also developed a case of Stockholm Syndrome, as supported by the evidence such as the dialogue we hear right after Cinder gets Mercury to join them, where we clearly hear Cinder hit Emerald and tell her to know her place. Now, as for how Cinder's first encounter with Mercury went, I gotta be honest, that shit was crazy. This was the stuff I was talking about. It got so dark, man. When we first see Mercury, he's got a black eye and a little bit of blood is dripping from his mouth. We also see that he has blood-stained bandages wrapped around his legs, which, knowing what we find out later in the episode, makes complete sense. So we can safely assume that this takes place right on the day that Mercury had acquired his mechanical prosthetic legs. But then another bombshell gets dropped. Mercury killed his own father, Marcus Black, the alcoholic assassin for hire that Cinder was originally looking for. Now this episode leaves me with 3 major questions that will not be answered in this episode. First, why the fuck did Mercury kill his own father? Did it have something to do with his father's drinking problem? Was he abusive towards Mercury? And today just happened to be the day Mercury finally reached his breaking point and just snapped? Second question, why does Mercury agree to join Cinder in the first place? Mercury does not strike me as the type to be interested in doing all this for money, and the only thing that he seems to care for and take pride in are his mechanical legs. So yeah, I don't know what Cinder could have offered Mercury to join. Maybe just some plain old-fashioned booty, guys. I don't know. Mercury might be down for that, who knows? Alright, third question, why is Mercury's house on fire? You know, was Marcus Black really drunk one night, smoking a cigarette, and accidentally drops it on their nice carpet? Fire breaks out, Mercury's beloved love cat Bromine gets caught in the flames and unfortunately dies, but promptly sparked the flames of war and all hell breaking loose, leading to Mercury and Marcus Black's death battle. Oh, that was a mouthful. Alright, I hope you guys realize by now that that was a joke. Alright, so my true third question is, where Mama Black at? We need to see her in all her glory, man. You know, is she dead? Did Marcus Black take Mercury at a young age with him by force and left her? Or did she abandon Mercury and his father? Who knows? And the sad thing is, we may never find out. So moving on, after that, we get to see Cinder reach out to Adam Torres, the man who may or may not be the big daddy of the White Fang organization at the moment. But regardless of that, Cinder definitely did not hold back on the sweet talking towards Adam, man. The only problem though, he was not biting. He tells Cinder very straightforward that he wants nothing to do with Cinder and her revolution / quote unquote human cause. Cinder accepts his decision, backs off, and retreats for now. We also get to see a brief cameo of Blake during the flashback, and based on what Adam tells her about the train leaving at dawn, we can conclude that this is the day right before the events of the Black trailer occur. Now after Cinder failed with her attempt at acquiring the White Fang's assistance, she decides it is time for her to make her big move. So what does Cinder decide to do, you may ask? Well, just challenge Amber the Fall Maiden to a battle, that's what. But don't get it twisted, Cinder don't play by the rules. Cinder and her gang straight up jumped Amber. You have Emerald using her semblance on Amber by conjuring up a little girl that fell off her bike. Man, Emerald was pulling at the heartstrings right here. Now I don't want to go into a lot of detail with the fight, but I will tell you this. That fight was awesome, and I really like seeing Amber use wind dust to push Emerald and Mercury back, then use burn dust to burn Mercury's legs, revealing his robotic legs. But the most hyped up moment for me was when Amber went into her avatar, seasonal maiden state, yeah, that's it. I was like, you fucking with a god now at this moment. She was controlling lightning, wind, ice, and fire. But everything took a turn for the worse when Cinder joined the fray. Now I gotta admit, Amber put up a good fight and might have actually been able to get away at this point, but she made the crucial mistake of letting her guard down when she was going in for the finishing blow on Emerald. Now after getting shot in the back by Cinder, Emerald and Mercury have Amber restrained. We see Cinder pop out a white glove with a strange symbol inscribed on it. It sort of reminds me of Roy Mustang's gloves from Fullmetal Alchemist, seeing how they both have important symbols inscribed to them. Now as the symbol of Roy Mustang's gloves allow him to use flame alchemy, I believe the strange symbol on Cinder's glove is what allowed Cinder to create a portal to summon this grim insect that spits out this black web-like substance to transfer over Amber's power to Cinder. Now when Amber saw this freaking insect, that shit placed the fear of God in her, man. But luckily for us, my man Qrow comes in like a boss, severs the connection between Amber and Cinder before the transfer was complete, catches Amber, and Cinder, now newly powered with some of the Fall Maiden's power, has two strange markings appear on her back, and she just retreats after that. Unfortunately, Qrow was not able to get a clear look at any of them, probably due to Emerald's semblance being used to conceal their identities. Well, now that Cinder has obtained a part of the Fall Maiden's power, she decides to give the White Fang another visit. This time around though, she gave Adam an offer he could not refuse. Adam went from a no man to a yes man, faster than RWBY can run, man, because Adam realizes that he'll be no good to his finest people and their revolution if he's a dead man. So he takes the deal. Heck, they even supply him with some dust and cash on the side, man. And so the flashback ends right there, and then we're just met with Mercury's trolling. All of us by now already know that Mercury was just trolling the whole damn time. We see Cinder and Neo both masquerading as paramedics, and they safely get away. And then the episode ends with Cinder giving Mercury the orders to just lay low. Now RWBY episode 8. Now in the beginning of this episode, we are met with Ironwood giving a stern speech to Yang and the rest of Team RWBY due to Yang's incident from episode 6. Ironwood for the most part seems to be completely convinced that what Yang saw was a stress-induced hallucination. Heck, Ironwood even goes further on to say that people can still see things that are not there even after the battle has passed. Seems like Ironwood definitely has his own demons he has to keep in check. Regardless of whatever the thing that he personally sees is, all I can tell you is that that thing is most likely the same thing responsible for the injury to his arm. Now moving on, at the end of Ironwood's conversation with Team RWBY, he informs them that Yang will be disqualified from the tournament. This is not surprising, we all could have guessed that this was gonna happen. Heck, I thought the situation with Yang was going to be much worse. I was thinking that Yang was going to get arrested and be placed under Atlas surveillance for the rest of the tournament, man. So considering that other possible outcome, Yang got off pretty easy. Now the situation after Ironwood leaves, RWBY and Weiss are quick to believe Yang. Now RWBY is definitely going to believe Yang. She has a lot of faith in her sister, and Weiss's reasoning for believing Yang, it fits her character. Now the situation with Blake, I'm glad that it was addressed and settled for the most part all in this episode. It makes sense for Blake to doubt people and have a difficult time putting her faith and trust in people. We have seen this many times before. In season 2 when they were dealing with the White Fang, and back in season 1 when she was very prone to keeping things to herself. Even though with the start of season 3 we have been seeing a more lighthearted and carefree side of Blake, she at her very core is still the same Blake Blake, so of course she's going to have her doubts if she had experienced this before with Adam, but I am glad she at the end ultimately decided to put her trust in Yang. Now the next act of the episode centered around Team Juniper. Noah trying to cheer Pyrrha up with her crazy antics, and Ren with his homemade herbal drinks. FYI, Ren's please do nothing to the cook apron really got a laugh out of me. We all know that ain't gonna stop Nora, man. Nice try though. Now the playful banter between Ren and Nora was definitely seen as the calm before the storm, seeing as we know what happens later on. But before we get to see that, we see my man Qrow pay Yang a visit. And I have to be honest with you guys, it was hurting me on the inside hearing Qrow tell Yang that she's either crazy or lying. Damn it, if only he had gotten a chance to see Emerald's semblance in action, he might believe Yang. And just when things were starting to look even more gloomy, Yang mentioned seeing her mother and how her mother saved her. Then the conversation took an unexpected turn with Qrow's response. He knew about Raven still being alive and chose to keep that from Yang until the right time. And like many of us have guessed, Raven is not working for Team Beacon. She has her own way of seeing the world that differs too greatly from Qrow's and Ozpin's way. So that places her in some mysterious unknown third-party organization that is separate from both Beacon's and Cinder's sides. Now by the end of Qrow's talk with Yang, it looks like they're going to set out on a quest to find Raven, though we do not know when exactly they're going to start their search. For me personally, I would guess at the season finale. Picture this: Yang and Qrow setting out on this journey at the brink of dawn while RWBY, Blake, and Weiss are all fast asleep. Yang leaving behind only a note telling them that she will be venturing off into the world to help rediscover herself or something like that. I think that would be a pretty cool way to end the season off. Throw in the new seasonal maiden-powered Pyrrha into the mix and we'll have a great setup for season 4. Oh yeah, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there. Now after the stuff with Qrow, we see Pyrrha contemplating the huge predicament that she's in, and it scares her. But who comes in to calm her nerves, you may ask? My boy John, that's who! And man, even Nora knows that she and Ren gotta skedaddle to give John and Pyrrha some alone time. Though man, this moment really got to me. John openly tells Pyrrha that she means a lot to him because she was the first person to ever believe in him. Even before me. Now look at Pyrrha's face. It is in complete awe when she realizes that John is holding her hand. Man, this was such a sweet and touching moment. But alas, it did not last long. Remember how I told you guys about the calm before the storm? Well, we're getting to the storm now because shit is hitting the fan. During Pyrrha's rambling about destiny and what it means to her, she realizes that the thing keeping her from her quote-unquote destiny are her feelings for John, as evidenced by her emotional breakdown when John tells her that she cannot let anything stand in her way from keeping her from her destiny. Man, I was completely shocked when I saw Pyrrha use her semblance to push John away like that. And do you know what the saddest part about this is? John doesn't even know why Pyrrha is acting like this and starts to think that it's his fault and even questions himself on what he said. So yeah, moving on from the seriousness of that scene, we have RWBY talking to Velvet and we find out a pretty interesting hobby of Velvet's, which is photography. Now I don't know if what she was trying to capture in that picture of Sun was his weapon or his tail, or Velvet's just a shitty photographer. Now what was important about this encounter was that finally the incident with Coco was brought up by Velvet, leading RWBY to start getting wary of the things around them. And to top it off, RWBY sees Emerald in the stands and gets even more suspicious since she believed Emerald had left with Mercury when he got injured. So RWBY quickly flees from the stands to run into none other than the man himself, Mercury, or at least seemingly Mercury. I gotta be honest with you guys, I do not think this is the real Mercury. I believe this is another one of Emerald's mind illusions, since Cinder just told Mercury last episode to not let anyone see him. So this has gotta be part of Cinder's plan, since I highly doubt Mercury would blatantly disobey her orders. So I think their plan here is to have RWBY cause a scene and tell people that she saw Mercury and he attacked her, causing everyone to then start questioning RWBY's sanity. Thus, she also loses her credibility with the people. And oh yeah, their other plan to expose Penny being a robot with a soul, the Atlas military created through the use of questionable methods by having pure semblance of polarity do the job for them. And if this gets out, then Beacon's credibility to the people won't be the only one that has been tainted. The Atlas military force's credibility will also be tarnished, which will result in them losing the trust of the people, causing even more mayhem with the Grimm. So yeah, I'm sorry about the late review, guys. I had some college things I needed to handle and I didn't have access to a computer for the last few days, so I will try to get the next episode review out earlier this time. So yeah, this has been TheMildOtaku with my RWBY Volume 3 episode 7 and 8 reviews. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I hope you guys have a great day. Comment down below what you guys thought of the episodes. If you guys got any crazy predictions, theories you guys want to share, rate the video. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you guys are new. I'd really appreciate it. Catch you guys later and stay gold.